Welcome, one and all, to yet another foray down a path less traveled. If you're familiar with the channel, you might know that I mostly meddle about in Pathfinder, but this series steps away from that. Instead, it gives me and some friends the opportunity to play something a little different. We wrapped up a short little adventure in Fabula Ultima 2 weeks ago, and tonight, we delve into my favorite franchise in existence with the Transformers role-playing game. Back when I was a mere protoform, few series captured my imagination like the 1984 Transformers cartoon. It ensorcelled me. I have been fixated with the franchise ever since. In fact, I was so enamored with the mythos and the characters and the lore of the series that back in high school I worked on my own Transformers tabletop role-playing game. Coming back, excuse me, coming back to it every few years and running it for friends and family. I was actually working on some new ideas for it when I heard about an official Transformers role-playing game back in 2021. The game had its excuse me. The game had its digital release on August 2nd of the following year and a physical release on October 11th. I've dabbled about in it a bit with a few forays into the game, but I'm looking forward to this opportunity to explore it with a full crew. And one of the reasons that we're doing so is the relatively recent release of Transformers 1, a fantastic film that you should check out if you haven't already. But as for tonight's game, this is published by Renegade Game Studios and uses their Essence 20 system, which is shared by a Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony game. This shared system means that they can be crossed over with minor adjustments that have been actually collected into a rulebook itself. This game and its related material can be purchased on the Renegade's website and can likely be found at your local friendly gaming store. The fact that I can find it in my own rinky-dink little shop likely means that you can find it just about anywhere. The core rulebook, which is what we'll be following for the most part, is written by a whole slew of authors, including Ryan Costello, Gabriel Hicks, J.F. Sombrano, Brian C.P. Steele, Alyssa Teague, and Eddie Webb. With this book and the supplemental tomes released alongside it, players can create Autobots and or Decepticons to adventure in the grand universe of Transformers, and that is what we are going to get into tonight. To that end, it's probably about time I stop gushing and go ahead and introduce my friends here, who are going to travel with me down this particular path. So, first and foremost, we have good old buddy, the longest I've known out of the people here, Ben. Want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Ben. Go by Punish Bear. It is weird, I'm aware, but it is what I've had since I was like about 16. So, and yep.
Excellent. Now Ben, I'm curious, what is your, I guess, familiarity with Transformers?
My familiarity with Transformers is since I was I forgot what year it was even. I think the Nintendo had released not too long ago. I was a very itty bitty kid, and I would be watching Transformers whenever my parents wouldn't let me play the Nintendo, and I would have like the little action figures of it. I remember having the Stegosaurus. It was clear,
Ooh,
and I'll be playing with that constantly and all the time. I fucking love that thing.
very
And
nice.
ever since then, the Transformers would come out every now and then. I've really got into Beast Wars. Freaking love that.
Fantastic series.
Absolutely. And the subsequent sequels of it were not as good, but still they were okay. Not too bad.
Yeah,
And yeah, since then I've made sure to watch all the movies. I still need to watch the recent release. My son is very much into Transformers now,
he's got good
so
taste.
yeah, he really, really deep dives into it. So
Awesome. And like we just mentioned before we went live, you are the only person that has, out of this group at least, or I was going to say alive, but that's not true, that played in the that Transformers RPG that I made that I mentioned.
yep, I think I've did two. I played two different campaigns. One was over at I forget dude's name.
LZ, Liskevich.
Yeah,
Not to dox him, but nobody's gonna.
yeah, that was a while ago. But yeah, I played with him. I did the Dinobot. That was Rabid. Whenever he transformed, that
Yep.
was a freaking menace. Not gonna
Yep.
do that now. And then the second one with Zach.
Yes. Yeah. That
Yeah,
was
super fun.
good times. Well,
Yeah.
not to. We are going to go ahead and talk to our next person join us, Decaf. So Decaf, you've played a lot of games with me at this point, but I'd like you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people now.
Yeah, my name's Decaf. I hang out on the Monster Monday Discord. I'm mostly just a lurker, but I do play in a lot of BB's games outside of, and I usually assist on the Saturday tests for monsters. But beyond that, I just hide in the background.
Nice, nice. And I'm still glad to have you there, even if you are in the background. Now I want to pose the same question to you that I just asked Ben. What is your familiarity, your association with Transformers?
Um, Probably the most canonical for me is Beast Wars, since
Hmm.
that came out when I was like 6 years old. So that's where I grew up with it, and then I think I went backwards to the 1980s series to kind of pick up on that. Before I think I touched on, was it mini bots? It was like there was a skateboard, a scooter, and something
That
else.
was that was like I think it was the Energon trilogy or something like that. That is the
Yeah.
one. That's the one like incarnation of it I never really got into.
Yeah, it was like super common, like after school, elementary, middle school era, Cartoon Network sort of stuff. So that's kind of where it all started. But yeah, I would say Beast Wars was the big one for me.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, excellent. Well, then next up we have Shy. How you doing, Shy?
Hello, hello. Doing great. How about yourself?
Good, good. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the fine people, who I can only assume
Yeah,
they're fine if they're watching this.
I would hope they are.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm the not so shy Benster. I do content creation of my own. Um, Nothing super crazy yet, but over time we'll see how much it grows. And I also, similarly to Decaf, I participate in some different games of BBs here, as well as different monster mashes as well.
Yep. Yeah, and again, I want to ask you this same question I've been asking everybody else. What is your level familiarity association with the Transformers?
Well, I'm gonna be the odd one out, I think, in this case, and be the one who really only knows it kind of through the movies, if I'm being honest. I never really had any exposure to it through comics or anything like that. Grew up under a rock, if you will, if stuttered, if that's how you want to kind of go about it. So yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it through like the movies that I've gotten to see. Haven't even seen all of them, I don't think. So I'm excited to see where this goes.
Excellent. And I think that is perfectly fine to come into this with, because I will try to introduce you to the world as best I can without getting too obsessive about it, without trying to do a complete lore dump on you. Um, but that leaves one final player for our game tonight. Last but not least, we have the ever amazing Threadworthy. Thread, how
Oh,
you doing?
I'm good. Very happy to be here.
You want to
Um,
introduce yourselves or
I
yourself?
sure
Sorry.
can. Yes, all six of us. No, um, no. Hi, everyone out in the world, the fine people on the other side. My name is Threadworthy, shortened as Thread. I too, just like Shy, do content creation for many different things, but also enjoy the world of gaming and anime too, well, or the games I've encountered. I may not be the biggest gamer, but this is my third game with BB. And I also at least do a lot of reading on the Monster Mash Discord, which I recommend to folks. A lot of good information. It has definitely tooled me up seeing as I've only played tabletop games in the past 4 years, or role-playing tabletop games in the last 4 years. So yeah, I could start there, and then we could go through the questions if you like.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. I want to know what your familiarity was with Transformers.
Yes, so familiarity with Transformers. There's two parts. One, I do vaguely remember the Beast Wars. Now that I Googled it, I was like, yes, that was the one. I was like 9 years old when it came out. And I remember seeing a few episodes being like, this is cool. This is like, oh my gosh, they're the cars, they turn into robots and they fight. Like, this is good stuff. But I admit I may not be as deep in the lore, so I may be closer to how Shy was aligned with, where I've seen the movies. I haven't seen the Mark Wahlberg ones. I think I maybe have seen one, but I saw the Shia LaBeouf ones. I saw the Anthony Ramos one that dropped last year. I really like. I'm going to see the Transformers one and very excited about that, which I
As you
think
should be.
us doing the game is very timely. But I did want to say, if you gave me a moment, BB,
Mhm.
the reason why specifically Transformers is special to me, um, this I'm doing this game in honor of my stepfather who passed away last year. His name was Andrew. He was a hardworking man. He was a good man. He was like he he was a very hardworking man, but not a lot of things made him laugh or smile except for the Transformers movies. I saw this 6'2" man who's once again really hardworking guy, really great stepfather. He was in the trenches because he was a truck driver. But the few moments where I saw him laugh and smile and have so much joy was watching those Shia LaBeouf movies. And so Transformers, because of that, and because he passed away last year due to COVID, I'm very happy that I get to play this and do it in honor of him. So thank you.
Well, I did not know that, and I'm very happy that we could do that, and I hope we will live up to that memory, able to have some laughs of our own here.
We
But,
will. I'm not worried. You're a great
yeah,
leader.
with all that said, I think it's time to get started. Now, as a quick disclaimer, I've told my players this. Roll20, for whatever reason, has character sheets for the Essence 20 Power Rangers role-playing game. This is the same system that the Transformers game runs off of, like I mentioned earlier, but for some reason, they do not have the Transformers role-playing game character sheets. So, we're going to do our best. We're going to make do with Power Rangers character sheets, just adapting it as we can to Transformers. Now, this is our session 0. We are going to be playing an adventure out of the core rulebook, so we don't need to get into the super nitty-gritty of a typical session 0. And instead, we are going to focus on making characters, and we're going to go step by step. We're all going to sort of move together. You guys have had a chance. You guys have the books. You've had a little bit of opportunity to look through them and everything. And so we're just going to start. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right.
About as ready as I'll probably ever be, yeah.
Same.
So, now step 0 is usually discuss with your GM and other players. This can be general concepts for your character, but that does kind of just roll into step 1, which is your character concept. Now, I know normally Decaf likes his tables and likes rolling randomly to guide his character creation, and while that is possible to do here, it's a little bit rougher. The tables are not nearly as well defined as they are in other systems. So, with that being the case, I'm curious if anybody has any concepts or at least starting points for their characters that they would like to share.
Oh.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry, I was sitting down really hard.
Well, unfortunately, you just volunteered yourself.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well, as far as ideas for a character, I was thinking somewhere more along lines of a pretty much somebody who would not have the personality to actually be in a combat situation, throwing themselves in the combat situation because they believe in whatever cause it is.
Okay. So somebody
So-
who's a little out of their depths, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Very passionate, but
Yeah, he likes this idea a lot, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Okay. So, what I'm curious, what sort of skills is he bringing to the table?
Skills. I don't know about that.
Do you have an idea for that yet, or you're still sort of formulating?
Yeah, still trying to really kind of focus down
Okay.
on all of that. No,
Well,
Alan,
that's
go
all
away.
good. That can come out as we build our characters together.
Mhm.
Now, Decaf, you and I have talked offline a little bit. Do you have any concepts that you've committed to or you're sold on yet?
I fully believe that because I live in a state that is full of dust storms and rain that is made out of mineral water that stains your vehicles, car washes are extraordinarily important here. I would like to try and play the team support. Clean you up,
Okay.
fix up any injuries, etc., etc. Come into my workshop.
Yeah, perfect.
Hmm.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways to go about that. We can, but yeah, that is a great starting point to have. That can definitely lead us down some avenues. Different avenue here, Shy. Do you have any ideas, any concepts kicking around in your head?
I've had a couple kind of come to mind, and I've decided to not like quote unquote flesh it out like specifically so that I don't get sold on an idea.
Mhm.
Because then I would feel bad if someone else wanted it too, and I'm more than willing to jump around. So I've got mostly just the idea of like I want to be fast, but I don't have to be the fastest. And maybe go sniping or once or twice. I don't know.
Okay,
I love the idea of just using a railgun.
we can definitely work up to that. Yeah, there's rules for that. I got you. Then Thread. Now, actually, I do want to mention talk to the stream here, or whoever's watching this. As somebody obsessed with Transformers, I have obviously made my own characters. I actually have my own setting, completely ready to run like a full Transformers campaign. That's not what we're doing tonight. We'll see if I can sucker them into it. Working on it.
Nice.
But I have found that it is far easier to create a Transformers character by starting with the name in a sort of backward sort of way, because the name informs a lot about the character. I have sent a list of names I've just been walking around and been like, that's a good Transformers name. I've written down and I've sent it to these people here just to get the juices flowing. And Thread, you mentioned a few that you liked. Now, did you have
I
any
did.
concepts attached to them? Anything that you felt like playing?
So, some concepts I was looking at, based off of the wiki summary, which I really appreciate that you shared, Abibi.
Mhm.
I really, first of all, the champions, which is hilarious because the running gag with the folks on this call and other friends who I've played with, I tend to be a paladin or a champion in Pathfinder 2E. So
Yeah,
the fact that the sports cars are also champions, I laughed at that because I
perfect.
wanted to be like a sports car or something, something with that charisma.
Yeah.
And so I thought about that. But if I was also like, if someone didn't, or other people, like if we had six, or not six, we had three other luxury vehicles, I was like, okay, I could be prepared to be something else. But that sounds like that may not be the case. So yeah, I'm really drawn to champion. I was also looking at potentially at Outrider or Seeker if needed be, but it sounds like Seeker would be a good one potentially for Shy because he would get to go fast as a jet and shoot things. So it
Snipe
sounds
from the
like
air with a
Outrider.
railgun.
Yeah, exactly.
Potentially.
I
So
will
it sounds
say
like
I don't mean to be a plane, if that helps.
ah, got you. Well, Well,
I
there
wish to be
I could
fast and
also
shoot,
be.
but you are more than welcome to take the plane if that is your worry.
No, I actually wanted to be the car, so that's like. But if I needed to be the
See, there you
plane,
go.
I can also be the plane. So we'll we'll
Ah,
we'll make it work. We'll work together.
we'll just all be boats and we'll throw BB for a
Oh
loop.
man,
We're all water transformers.
that's doable. It's questionable decision making, but it's completely doable. Well, wonderful. Okay, so we have some starting points to go with. Now, normally step 2 is your essence score increases and your skill point investments. And we're going to take a little bit to talk about here. So, to affect your essences, you will go on your character sheet, you'll hit edit, I think, and should allow you to, ooh, it doesn't allow you to change it. Oh no, I hit the wrong edit, I think. Yep, that edit lets you change the edit on the right side of your character sheet, not the left side, lets you change your essences and everything. And so this is how we will work it out. Making things difficult already, Decaf. I see. But so the way it works is for each point that you have in one of your 4 attributes, which are your essences, your strength, your speed, your smarts, and your social, you get 1 skill rank to distribute for that skill. Now, unlike most games where a skill rank increases, like gives you a flat bonus, what it does in Essence 20 system is it gives you a skill die. Now, this obviously starts at 0, but the first time you invest in it, it becomes a D2, followed by a D4, and upwards to the max of a D12. Whenever you make a check for, let's say, athletics, you will roll a D20 plus your athletic skill die. It's worth noting that crits occur when you succeed on the check and your skill die is its max value. Alternatively, if you roll a natural 1 on your skill die and you fail the check, it is a critical failure. Now, the one point of order I do want to mention about this is that a D20 cannot crit in either direction. Or D2 cannot crit in either direction.
Oh, I was about to say, I was like, whoa.
So you don't have to worry about that. The one other thing to keep in mind is that, actually, there's a few other things. I shouldn't say one other thing. Your defenses are also determined by your essences. So if you look under strength or speed, any of those, you have your toughness, evasion, willpower, and cleverness. And those are going to be your score in your essence plus 10. And so those will let you defend against various different things. And we'll sometimes
ready to create a glass cannon per usual.
and we'll sometimes have other modifiers to them. All right, 2 more things to go, just talking about skills. There are specializations you can take. When you increase one of your essences, instead of increasing a skill, you could choose to become specialized in a skill. And so when you do, you choose a specialization. So for example, looking at speed, you might be specializing in targeting, right? So you might say, I'm going to specialize in ballistic firearms, something like that. And so what that means is that whenever you're rolling a targeting check with a ballistic firearm, you will roll your skill die and then every die beneath it. So if your targeting is a D8 and you're specialized in ballistic firearms, when you roll, you will roll a D8, a D6, a D4, and a D2. But you will only keep one of them.
Interesting.
Yep. So this opens up, it opens up some more chances because, like, if your D8 still rolls a 1 for some reason, but then your D6 rolls a 6, you would obviously get a higher bonus, and you get a chance to crit if it succeeds. One final thing that I want to mention about essences is your character's speed. So, actions in this game are a little similar to D&D, where you have a standard action, a move action, and then free actions. However, to get those actions, you need to have the right amount of speed. So if you have a speed of 1, you get 1 standard action on your turn. If you have a speed of 2, you get a standard action and a move action on your turn. For every point of speed beyond 2, 3 and up, you gain 1 extra free action that you can use on your turn.
Good.
Any questions about anything so far?
That's very
Would
interesting.
would you be willing to repeat how where like a D8 would go versus like a D6? Like in other words, I think I got lost a little bit there on I got the point allocation, I got the crit, I got the both crit and failure. I think it was just the first part of how something becomes a D8, like is allocated
Right,
as
okay, yeah.
a D8.
So
Yeah.
let's say you put 4 points into strength.
Mm-hmm.
That then gives you 4 skill points to spread amongst your strength-based skills.
Yes. Got it. Okay.
If you put all 4 of those into something like, let's say, intimidation, it would go from a D2, so it would go from a 0 to a D2, to a D4, to a D6, to a D8.
Got you. That helps. I missed that part. Okay.
All good. All good. And I guess actually one final thing I should mention that I do want to mention. If you attempt a skill in which you don't have any like ranks in it, anything like that, you roll, I forget the exact wording, but you essentially roll with disadvantage. So you roll twice and take the lower skill result if you don't have any ranks in that skill whatsoever.
Of like a D2?
So like let's say, just because I'm on Thread's character sheet, Thread doesn't have anything in athletics. She needs to make a jump that requires an athletics check. But because she has nothing in there, she rolls her d20 twice for her athletics check and takes the lower result.
So, wait, is it... Maybe I misunderstood this myself then. So is it like a D20 plus whatever the die of the skill is?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that. I apologize.
I might have misspoke.
Okay.
So yeah, if you have no skill die, then you're
Got
rolling
it.
your d20 twice and taking the lower one.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, you guys all get 12 essence points to assign how you like. However, your characters are still very nebulous, they're very unformed. And so I usually think it is better to wait to assign these 12 essence points until pretty much the end after we've chosen everything else. If you guys would like to, we can do that now, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
No, I need more information.
I was going to say, I'm definitely in a similar boat. I'm like, I don't want to assign skills if I don't even know what the heck I've got going on. So
Yeah, I think that's fair. One other note before we move on then, before we look at step 3, is so these 12 essence points, you can spend them however you choose, but you need at least 1 point in each essence score, and you can increase an essence score above 15. So keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, step 3 is select influences. And so influences, to borrow some parlance from our familiarity with Pathfinder, influences are essentially your character's background. They are a variety of passions, hobbies, culture, previous careers, and impactful moments in your past that help to flesh out who your character is and where they came from. These influences can come into play from any point in your character's history, whether it be before they arrived on Earth, afterwards, or somewhere in between. There are a number of influences to choose from, and you can actually have multiple influences. The only thing is, for each influence beyond your first, you have to take a hang-up, which is a negative that affects your character in a mechanical sense. So, who of you that have looked at influences wants to discuss first what we're looking at?
Hit me.
Okay. So, have you had a chance to look through them?
I
Root
have
up any ideas? Okay.
I have.
So if you look down on your character sheet, you scroll down a little bit, you will find an influences slot that you can edit. So we can add your influences here.
Here we are. Okay, cool. Let me move this then. I'm gonna go ahead and go like this.
Now, like I said,
split up my screen.
a lot of what we're using will be coming from the core rulebook, but you guys all have access to all the books that are currently available. So if there were any influences you liked in those rather than the core rulebook, we can tap into them with no problem.
Oh well, I'm here, so I'm just gonna stick
You're
with
sticking
the
with
core.
core rulebook?
Yeah,
That is
that's the stuff
still
I've looked at. So
perfectly fine.
all right. Now, if anyone else has any desire for either of these, because I have two in mind that I'm thinking of doing both
You could
of,
do both.
admittedly.
Yeah.
But if anyone else has one that they were thinking of, feel free. And if we feel it's too much, I'm willing to adjust. But the two I was looking at were Racer,
Okay.
because why
Racer.
not? I enjoy going fast.
The Cybertronian that does engage in racing is rare, but you take it to a whole new level. You engage in the racing circuit, taking breakneck turns for pure pleasure and thriving off of the thrill of leaving everyone in your dust. Or perhaps you're from Velocitron, one of the Cybertronian colonies renowned for its racing culture. Excellent. So, every influence does come with a perk. The Racer perk is you get to choose a driving specialization, whether or not you invested in that specialization. You gain an edge on skill tests when that specialization comes into play.
Oh, an edge, I'm assuming, would be the equivalent of advantage.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Now, are there examples of specializations for each skill if we were to find like that section in the book? Do you know?
There are. I can actually
perfect.
tap
Okay,
into
cool.
them real quick for you, because they only give a few examples, and
I
they
imagine
kind of
that you
leave
can
them.
kind of choose of your own accord.
Yeah, they leave them fairly
Okay.
open, but yeah, let me grab the skills real quick. I will bring up some of the examples for you. So we're looking
Yeah,
at
okay, cool.
driving. Yeah, so some sample specializations. It's actually pretty basic. Your specializations they suggest are air, land, or sea. And so driving both refers to operating in your vehicle mode, as well as your piloting larger vehicles.
Interesting. That's a lot more broad than I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, then I think I'll just choose land.
that makes sense. Yep.
Okay.
So if you edit your skills, you can go ahead and add that under driving.
Yes, if I do edit, driving specializations, land. Do I just put special? Yeah. Do I just put land
Sure.
specialization? I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
Something I can. And that I'll say gives edge on rolls. Yeah, that way it makes sense to my brain. Okay, cool.
Excellent. Now, there are some suggested characteristics. There are some bonds you could roll for if you so desire. But if that's not your thing, or if you want to roll on a different one, because you said you did have another idea, another possible influence, we can look at that.
Well, the other thing I was looking at, just so that we have it on the table, would be experiment.
Experiment. Cybertronian technology is beyond human understanding, and the pursuit of science and technology is a commonly dedicated life path for Cybertronians. But you weren't a scientist, technologist, or machinist. You were their experiment. Your body has been modified, altered, or upgraded. You may have experienced a unique forging or spent years in a laboratory being torn down and rebuilt repeatedly. So this actually has a variety of perks that you can choose.
Mm-hmm.
You can gain, so I'll show this to the class, to our viewers. So sometimes you'll find in the book there's this little up arrow followed by a number. This is the sign of an upshift. And so what this means, and you guys should learn this as well, is upshifts mean when you roll your skill dice for something that is getting upshifted, you increase that skill die. So for example, the experiment says gain 1 upshift when shoving or attempting to break from a grapple. So that is normally along the line of athletics. So if you were to attempt an athletics check and you had like a D2 in athletics, you would instead roll a D4 skill die when shoving or attempting to break from a grapple.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, some other options for the experiment is your carrying weight is doubled. You gain an edge on technology skill tests in which you are not familiar with the specific technology. Or you may have 1 additional integrated non-weapon hardpoint.
I am looking at that 4th one, actually. That is the one I'm thinking of doing.
I think that is a very solid perk you could get.
So
Yeah,
I
think
believe
that-
we have. Here we go.
Yep, and you could put both your perks in there if you so desire.
Oh,
The one from the racer and the
What
experiment.
would I title this? Would it just be experiment perk, I guess?
Yeah. Racer perk, experiment perk.
Okay, I'll call that.
And source could be an influence.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Let me... And then...
You
do
have
this
taken.
before I forget.
Yeah. You have taken 2 influences. Which
I
means
have.
I'm going to need you to take a hang up.
Indeed.
Now,
One
again, the core
second while I
rulebook.
grab-
Yeah, of course. I'm just
Go ahead,
going to
yeah.
describe them a little bit. The core rulebook offers a couple different options for us when it comes to hangups. But if none of those speak to you, we can always look at hangups presented in the other books.
I'll maybe while you're working on a few other people, I'll
You'll take
relook
a
over
look
them
at
because I don't
hangups?
remember what they were. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll relook over them, and then we
Sounds
can
good.
kind of go from there.
Perfect. All right. Who wants to go next?
I could give it a shot because I'm gonna
Red.
need you to work with me.
Absolutely. Thread.
All right.
What you feeling?
So, 2 parts. And I need your help with this too. So Shy, you're thinking of being a fast sports car? That's because of the driving special.
Fast. I wouldn't say sports car.
Oh, okay.
That'll be your hint that I give for now.
Okay, fast. But not
so
a
if you want a sports car, don't let me stop you. How's that?
Okay, so
I wanna
think I want
say-
to be a sports car.
Don't be scared about having multiple, even origins. I think it's fine to
This
have
is true.
multiples of. There were even
Gotcha.
twins and stuff like that back in the old Generation 1 cartoon.
I do remember the twins.
Fair enough.
All right, then that works. I will still. I did want to be a car that transformed because that was what drew me to the series.
Of course.
Now I was going either 2 parts, either kind of like something that's very finesse oriented, whether it's finesse in my fighting or finesse in my speaking, or it could be a mix of both and then I just have a hang up. But so to support that, something along the lines of either performance or persuasion, giving like a bard car, if you will. Bard car. So it could be like the specialization of flattery, or diplomacy, or embellishments, which maybe that's that sweet spot between the two. What are your thoughts with that?
Well, when it comes to influences, I would say the first option I would look at is former senator.
Okay.
Leadership requires the best and brightest, those who can enact strong policy and those who make backroom deals with the best of them. On Cybertron, you directed some form of local government at the head and were part of the well-oiled machine. This will give you a deception or persuasion specialization. It gives you an edge on all skill tests when that specialization comes into play.
All right. I think former senator was good. I just wanted to ask one more piece. So, the energy I was giving could be the senator. I kind of like this. Is giving like, look at me, I'm diplomacy. The other part I was thinking was more like something that was very like street smart, like very like, is good at not thievery. I shouldn't say thievery. There was like a specialization that was I saw it. Looking for it. Survival, tracking. Something like either tracking or
So there was the hunter.
there was,
There was the
there was
hunter
I don't think it
influence,
was that one.
which
Sorry.
gives you a
Well,
survival specialization.
it was like either. Sorry, I was trying to find the right one. There was like either gossip.
Oh, hey, you lot better
It
shape
was.
up. We've got Optimus Prime joining us in the chat.
Yay! Thank you, Optimus Prime. Welcome.
Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. Is it? It's. I'm trying to find it. I had it just now.
Was it in the core
Um,
rulebook or was it in one of the other ones?
I'm in the core rule book. It was like the idea of like kind of like sleight of hand energy, like not disguise.
The
Not
scavenger has
distraction.
streetwise specialization.
Okay, scavenger. Okay.
As
Yes.
technologically
That
advanced as Cybertronians are, they always have needed more materials. Some of these materials are rare, hoarded, and even illegal. You're an expert in tracking down and acquiring parts and minerals for the scientist cast to work with, often making deals or working with the senior members of society to get the job done.
yeah.
Optimus, this is the Essence 20 Transformers role-playing game. This is the official system put out in partnership with Hasbro. It is decently deep into its development. 3 full books have been released for it. They're working on a 4th right now, actually. So yeah, it uses the Essence 20 system, as I mentioned. And so unfortunately on Roll20, that means we are stuck using the Power Rangers character sheets because they, for some reason, don't have Transformers character sheets. But
And thank you for that segue. That gave me a chance to find it. It was under infiltration, and I was looking at sleight of hand. It was actually called sleight of hand. I thought that was a D 5e thing only. But yeah, they have sleight of hand here. So kind of like that slick talking, persuasive yet can underhandedly, not underhandedly, but yeah, sneakily get what we need to like be successful.
okay. Did you want to combine scavenger and former senator? Maybe a senator who was up to some backroom deals?
Yeah, let's do it. And I'll have to find a hang up.
Okay. Well, great. So, you're going to go to your influences. And you're going to go ahead and add the former senator and the former scavenger.
Got it.
And you can probably just copy like the description of it into your little text box there.
All right. Influencer. And then the other one was scavenger. Or
Yep.
sorry, senator. Senator.
Former senator and scavenger.
Oh, got it. Scavenger. Okay.
That was the one that had the streetwise that you were looking for. Or was there something else you
Yeah.
were looking at that I missed?
Yes, that's what it was. I think I may be in the wrong part of the book. Not influence, but maybe specializations. That's probably why I got confused.
Scavenger is on page 39 of the core rulebook.
Got you.
And former senator is on page 33.
All right. I will move to that shortly.
Okay.
But yeah,
Well, you
sounds good. I'm going on mute.
Excellent. So yeah, you'll just get those perks so we can talk about what specializations you want to get for them. We can do that now if you have an idea in mind of what you'd like that to be.
Oh, the specializations under that? Yeah, it was specific. I was picking the specializations first.
Gotcha.
That was on page 100. Sorry, page 99. And it was under social because it was near social. Oh no, did I do it again? Yes, it was
So, yeah.
under streetwise.
Yep, so
It was page 100. Yep.
So yeah, that says black market, crime, gossip, or transportation for streetwise.
Even though it would be hilarious if I did crime, but oh my gosh, I did it again. It is higher. It's a higher page. It is
Page 100.
infiltration,
Infiltration.
which is page.
Well,
it's
I'm
on a
not
higher
sure
page. I keep
any of
scrolling
the.
back.
I'm not sure any of the influences will give you infiltration stuff.
Got you. And that was where sleight of
The-
hand was. But
The
let's go.
scavenger is going to give you a streetwise specialization, and the former senator will give you deception or a persuasion specialization.
Got you. So let's stick with that then. So going back to page 100.
So yeah, there's stuff
Oh.
like black market, which I mean, if you want to play with the idea of you're somebody who got people's stuff, I think that's probably your best bet.
Probably the best one. It was either that or transportation. I feel because I didn't want to be as straight laced this time, but still fighting for the Autobots here.
Mhm.
Yeah, black market's good. And then I want to, but instead of deception, I would rather do
You can do persuasion.
persuasion, and it would be probably embellishments. Maybe like I'm a slick talker too.
Okay. So yeah, if you go ahead and hit edit,
Mhm.
you can go ahead and add those specializations to your character,
Got it.
to those skills.
I see. I see.
And while you do that and then figure out what hang-up you'd like to take, it does look like Shy has figured out his hang-up. So I'm gonna
Hello.
turn to him real quick.
All
Shy,
right.
what do we got here?
I was looking through what it mentioned as potential hangups. Is that required before we continue
No.
to use one of those?
Nope.
Okay.
Those are just
then
sort of
I actually
some suggestions for you.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. So in that case, I did actually go for skeptical specifically. And I think it would help if we also pull up the bond that I kind of went with.
Mm.
I went off of the bond from from one of the experiment choices, and he was forced into a life of experimentation, hating the party responsible, which
In this
has made
case,
them
likely
skeptical.
Decepticons. Okay, yeah.
So very objective observer, and concepts such as hope and inspiration do not impact you. So you gain no benefits from when an ally uses lend assistance on you.
Interesting. Okay. So you might be on the Autobot side not because you believe in it, but because the Decepticons or somebody aligned with them wronged you.
I was just trying to live my racing life. I got pulled aside, and now y'all have made an enemy that you're gonna regret. No.
Perfect. Perfect. I love it. All right. Who wants to talk influences next?
Also,
Between-
before you
Oh,
move on,
yeah.
BB,
Threat.
was I supposed to add the dice? Because
Nope.
my specialty. Okay, so
No
just
dice
put the
number yet.
words.
Yep. You just get a
Just
specialization. You'll still have to actually invest in the skill.
Got you. Sounds good.
Okay. Ben or Decaf? Either of you got any ideas influence-wise?
Lost a page.
Influences, at least in the core rulebook, start on page 30. So, Decaf, while he's looking for that, have you had any ideas?
Machinist.
Machinist. Let's see.
100%.
Day in and day out, chained to the repair bays, working as machinists can be grueling and exhausting work. But whenever another Cybertronian gets their full line in a twist, internal chassis scoring, or a crankshaft stuck in their skid plate, you're there, toolkit in hand, ready for a bit of remove and rebuild.
Mhm.
All right, yeah, I think that fits solidly with your concept that you were going for originally. The perk from this gives you when using a skill test for any kind to repair or upgrade. When using a skill test of any kind to repair or upgrade a Cybertronian or Cybertronian technology, you gain an edge. It's pretty good. So, are you thinking only one influence?
I am. I'm sticking just pure machinist on this one.
Okay. Well, then go ahead and add that to your influences, and go ahead and add that perk to your perks.
Now, when I click on edit, it
Mhm.
just flashes the closed icon and then goes back. I can't seem to edit
Oh.
the sheet. I cry.
Well, I can, so I will help you out.
Uh,
We'll have to figure out why that is happening the way it is. But in the meantime, I got your back.
Maybe if I just do a refresh, it'll work.
Let me know if it does. So, because you only took one influence, you do not have to take a hang up. If you would like to, you still can.
Nah.
Nah? Okay. Well, great. So, Ben, are you all set? You found it?
I think I did find something that is more fitting with what I am trying to do here.
Okay.
So, more than likely, I will be going with bureaucrat.
Okay. Here, give me 1 second. I want to throw this stuff in there for Decaf, so he is all set and ready to go. Perfect. All right, bureaucrat. This is the first option that comes up. Never in the limelight, but always foundational to the execution and planning of leadership, you're an administrator or functionary. Whether you're a desk jockey running the numbers on the energon flow at the Sprayspridge, or the assistant putting the final touches on the mayor's policies, you are vital to making Cybertron run through coordination and service. This is perfect for what you described earlier for your character concept. Somebody out of their depths. Was there any other options you were looking at?
That fit with this? Probably not.
Okay, so yeah, we can just take bureaucrat. And the perk that you get from this is when using the lend assistant action, you can grant the recipient both an edge and an upshift to their skill test. Just don't go doing so to Shy's character because he's skeptical of the aid you offer.
Awesome.
Okay,
Good.
so
It
you can-
sounds like we're bureaucrats together.
So what you'll want to do is influences are down a little bit on your character sheet.
Mhm.
So you can edit that and you can add an influence and go ahead and put in bureaucrat. You can copy and paste the description if you want, and then go ahead and give yourself the perk as well under the perks. Now, that mostly covers influences. Thread, I want to come back to you. Have you chosen your specializations?
Yes. My
Oh.
specialization, which I thought I put them in here. Yes. It
Embellishment
was
and black market.
embellishment. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then adding the details to my scavenger and former senator here. And then the hang up I got was vainglorious. So you're going to get some dramatic speeches from me.
You are pompous and self-important, and your reputation and good looks take precedence over being effective. Though this does not necessarily mean you are ineffective. On your first turn after you roll initiative, You must spend your standard action delivering a speech to your enemies or preening and chest thrusting.
I live.
Fantastic.
I'm very excited to do this.
It sounds like it should be fun to play with. Well, does anybody have any further questions, comments, or concerns in regards to their influences? I know, Thread, you're still getting stuff set up in there. That's all good. Is everybody else good?
I think so.
Should be here.
I think when it comes to at least the influence side, yeah.
Okay. Well, that leads us into step 4, which is selecting your origin. Now, your origin is essentially, it is your alt mode. It is what you transform into. And to compare it to other systems, I like to think of it as your ancestry, your race, something of that nature. So this gives you, obviously like your speeds, your essence score increase, it gives you some skills, stuff like that. It gives you your bot mode statistics as well as your alt mode statistics. And this we might have to finagle a little bit to make sure it works and everything, but we will figure it out together. Now, does anybody want to start with an idea for their origin?
Maybe, but I also would love one more clarification, please.
Okay.
When there's a difference between the specialty and then the perk. So persuasion's the perk, the specialty is embellishment. That how?
Persuasion is the skill, the specialization is embellishment.
Got you. And so, like in 5e, when you say like insight is your specialization or what have you, there's like a way to mark that it is. Is there a special way to mark it, or it's just
we already have it. We already have it marked.
Got it. And because I have the words embellishment under it.
Yep.
Got you. Okay. So tracking. Now, for design, for the fun stuff,
Mhm.
I'm thinking fabulous cars. I'm thinking Aston Martins. I'm thinking like I woke up in a new Bugatti. I'm thinking expensive. So that's where I'm going. I want to be the most outrageous sports car to match all of my vaingloriousness.
Well, champions are transformers that convert into sports cars, luxury sedans, and other such flashy vehicles, which give them an edge on social scenarios and might perfectly fit your idea.
I think that's where we're going.
Excellent. And let's go ahead and take a look at what the champion offers. So, first things first is we're going to go ahead and edit your character sheet and give you 1 point in social, because that is what the champion gives you. This point in social can only go to your persuasion or streetwise skill. So which of those do you want to set to a D2?
It will be probably streetwise.
Okay. So go ahead and click that little drop down. Yep, you got it. Perfect. Now while we're here, champions also give you a starting health of 3.
All right.
Might seem very low, and it is.
Expensive cars are very crunchable.
Indeed they are. Also, you guys are a level 1, so we'll do that just real quick. Now, some other stuff you get here. You do get your movement. And so here's what we're going to do. When you're in bot mode, you have 40 feet of ground speed.
Yeah.
When you're in your vehicle mode, you have 60 feet of ground speed. So
okay.
what I'm going to do
I put that in here?
is I'm going to put 40 feet ground / we'll do a double / 60 feet ground. We'll
Gotcha.
see how that doesn't look good. We'll
No.
remove the ground. And we'll just include the various types if they're not ground movement. There, that looks a little
Looks good
less
to me.
obnoxious.
Makes sense to me. If I'm in battle A, 40 feet. But if we're driving around, I'm
60.
going zoom.
Yep. Yep.
Shy and I, we're going fast. We go fast. If you're
Yeah.
not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
Now, this does give you a few other benefits. For example, you get the I Know a Bot Origin benefit. Now, what this
That lines
says,
up as well.
yeah. So what this says is you have friends in high places. You have friends in low places too. Whether they are
Yep.
Cybertronians, Earthlings, or some other alien peoples, you make friends wherever you go. You can spend an Energon point to declare that you have a previously positive relationship with an NPC. This can even be an enemy. Although this is not likely to change their objectives, they may still go easy on you or secretly help you with one of your goals.
That's fun. How many Energon points will we get? Is that what story points are?
No, those are actually something a little different. So Energon points
Oh,
are going to be, you'll get them at the start of each session, and you can regain them and stuff like that. And actually, I think you might
gotcha.
last between sessions. But they start out equal to your lowest essence,
Gotcha.
unless you're a scientist. But we'll talk about that if one of you chooses to play a scientist. And
Sounds like Shy might.
then the other thing is I'm going to include here, I'm going to add another perk, and this is going to be your champion alt mode. Origin perk. And this is just going to list some of the details of your alt mode.
Wonderful.
Now, while I'm doing that, has anybody else looked through the options and settled on anything? Well, don't all speak at once.
I'm looking, and I had a hard time finding the right thing.
Right thing that fits you.
Yeah, because looking through all this stuff, like, this dude is not going to be really great at the whole fighting thing, so best I can think of is they probably just toss him as support because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Well, so let me run through the options here. We did just I mentioned the champions already. There's
Mhm.
also cutters who transform into aquatic vehicles like boats or submarines. Lookouts who convert into either inconspicuous vehicles or inanimate objects, such as an excel at espionage and reconnaissance. That might fit with your idea.
Yeah.
There are monoliths, which use heavy-duty alternate modes like trucks and vans to literally throw their weight around. They are the largest sort of starting origin you can pick. There are outriders, who usually become off-road vehicles like SUVs. Rainmakers, who specialize in firepower and often transform into military-like vehicles. Seekers, who transform into jets and other high-speed air vehicles. As you mentioned, there are the supports, who take the form of practical vehicles like cranes, ambulances, or helicopters. And that covers the core rulebook. However, like I said, we can go beyond that. So, just to list a few other options, there are pretenders, who are capable of disguising themselves as organic creatures. Armory Call, who become handheld firearms or armor for other Transformers. Drones that began as mindless soldiers, but they've developed independence, and they're mass-produced and typically based off of other Transformers. There are Insecticons, who become giant insects. There are Minicons. These are usually partnered with larger Transformers, but you can roleplay as an independent Minicon yourself. There is the Monstrosities, which adopt beast modes based on dragons, dinosaurs, and other fearsome creatures. Salvage Transformers, cobbled together from Junkins, our famous salvage Transformers. There are chargers who specialize in vehicle mode combat using bulldozer blades and cow catchers. Pillars who protect their smaller comrades by drawing enemy aggression. And speakers who boost morale and can generate story points. With your concept, I can see a couple of those fitting. Lookout is probably the main one from the core rule book. But if you're all about like, you could also be a minicon. Maybe you were partnered to a larger Cybertronian that died, and now you're just trying to keep up the good fight.
Interesting. Let's go with Lookout for that one then.
You're thinking Lookout?
Yeah.
All right. So, if your alt mode isn't a vehicle, you deploy emergency jets to fly off. Yeah. So this has a wide range of vehicle modes or alt modes available to you. Now you are going to be, let's see, you are of common size, which is it's like 6 to 10 feet tall, something like that. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll enter in the Lookout origin for you. Make you level 1. So, do you have an idea of what you want to transform into? Because that will determine whether you have a ground, or if your alt mode has a ground speed, or a much shorter range aerial speed.
It's gonna be a Jeep.
It's gonna be a Jeep. Okay.
Yeah, like all the Jeeps that everybody always drives around the city and never takes them off road. Actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. I like it. All right. So you have 30 feet in bot mode and 45 feet in your alt mode. You have, let me see here, 2 starting health. And you can choose to either increase your speed or your social essence by 1.
Let's go with speed.
Okay, so 1 point in speed. And now with that increase, you can increase either your finesse or infiltration skill.
Go with finesse, yeah.
Okay, so finesse, I will mention, is fighting with like light weapons and stuff. It's usually melee combat.
Oh, no, never mind.
Okay, so that leaves us with infiltration, which is obviously like sneaking and all that sort of stuff. All your subterfuge-based skills will be infiltration. Your origin benefit is Lookout. You get a +2 bonus to evasion and can defend with evasion even if you're unaware of an attack. So you almost have like a spider sense going on.
Nice.
So I'll throw that in there for you. And then I'll throw in your alt mode stuff as well.
Abby, shush.
Now while I do
barking.
that, does anybody else have an idea of what their origin will be?
Phoebe, can I ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
So I knew one of the things I had also envisioned was some sort of, maybe not fighting specialization, but still some fighting experience. Like I was thinking more along the lines of finesse. Do we have an opportunity with the rest of our points to like maybe allocate some of that for?
Yeah, because keep in mind, you'll have that, you're going to have those 12 points at the end.
Gotcha. All right. Sounds good.
Shy and Decaf. Have you guys
Alrighty.
had any thoughts?
Yeah, I was struggling to pick, and I think I've finally solidified my thought. And I think I'm gonna go with Outrider.
Ooh, Outrider, okay. Let me get Ben all set. I think he's good. And let's take a look at Outrider. So Outrider, I did describe it. Adventurous by nature, you are a natural explorer capable of navigating the most challenging terrain and tracking down enemies, traps, and material. You prefer, you prefer all-terrain vehicles, including four-wheel drive, SUVs, and even the occasional amphibious vehicle.
Hmm.
So you like off-roading, or you like racing, but you like off-road racing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's take a quick look at this. Let's give you the Outrider Origin. Set your level at
Yes.
1. Oh, you already did so. Thank you. You have a starting health of 3. You have a
It
bot
could be
mode
lower.
speed. Could be lower, I suppose. And just like the Lookout, you have a bot mode of 30 feet and a alt mode of 45 feet. Now, as
I
an
will
Outrider...
say
Ooh, go ahead.
it upsets me that there's literally only the one that has like the higher speed, and that's just the champion. I'm like, oh.
Rainmakers get increased speed.
Do they?
But, yes, but those are the... actually, yeah, that is weird that they get the increased speed. I guess it's because they're focused on targeting.
Where?
Rainmakers are right next to Outrider.
No. Oh no, I meant like your actual like
Oh,
movement.
the higher... Yes, the actual movement speed. Gotcha. My apologies.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, the Outrider does get to increase their Smarts Essence.
Right.
So
So
look
let's
at
go
you.
ahead and bump.
You're the smartest of the
Oh.
bunch so far. And this essence can only be applied to alertness, which is essentially a perception skill, or survival.
Well, if I'm going along with the idea of shooting things at a distance with a sniper or railgun thing,
Mhm.
I'm thinking alertness.
Okay. That does sound fitting to me. And now your origin benefit is Take Point. You never suffer the negative effects of rough terrain, and on any turn in which you end your move in rough terrain, you are considered to be in cover until the beginning of your next turn,
Yeah.
which is pretty solid.
Heck yeah. Now,
Now it
can
is
I
worth
put that
noting,
under maybe perks?
yes, yep, if you want to put that and the details of your alt mode under perks, you can go ahead and
Okay.
do so. Now it is worth
Now you
noting,
were about to say.
yes, as an Outrider, you can choose to be common or large.
I'm sticking with common.
Okay. So that will mean when we have the map and everything, you will take up only a single square. Whereas our champion is large. So Thread, when we play, you will take up a 2x2 square.
Oh, that's fun. I'm a
Yeah.
big sports car.
I mean, cars in general are bigger than people. I still think some Transformers are too big. But we won't get into
Why
that
did
because
that-
that's a whole thing on my end.
Got you.
That leaves us with Decaf. Now, Decaf, you talked to me offline because you were unsure, about choosing something, because you felt like you didn't know vehicles. And so the good news
Yep.
here is you don't need to know a specific vehicle. As long as you have a general idea of what you can transform into, we don't need to get into specifics. I do when I'm making Transformers, because I think I'm slightly autistic about it. I'm not certain, but maybe. What are you looking at?
I'm gonna go with champion.
You're also going to be a champion. Ooh,
Oh yeah.
2 champions. There can only be one. No, I think that's great.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, just like Thread, you get to increase your social skill, your social essence, which will allow you to increase your choice of streetwise or persuasion.
Ooh. Okay. I think streetwise
Okay.
is where
So
I'm gonna go with this one.
ahead and set that to a D2.
I can edit it. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Done.
And I'm going to throw in your I know about perk and stuff like that real quick because I can just copy it from Thread. Well, all right. I think that went pretty smoothly. Does anybody have any questions about any of the stuff here?
So far, no.
Okay. Perfect. So that is going to let us move into step 4, which is going to be our roles. And let me make sure I'm not lying to you guys about that. So roles are effectively the classes of the Transformers game. To use parlance we are a little bit more familiar with from other systems. There are a couple introduced in the core rulebook, obviously. There has since been one added in the Decepticon expansion. So, I'm just going to give you guys a quick rundown of the options, and we can start talking about who has ideas. First off, there are analysts. Analysts are information warfare specialists who can manipulate the game's initiative-based combat order by boosting up allies or suppressing enemies. Field commanders make everyone around them better. They can temporarily boost an ally's stats or inspire their teammates to take free actions. Gunners always have the right firearm for the job, whether they're sniping foes from afar, laying down a hail of close-range covering fire, or obliterating hard targets with heavy weapons. Mode Masters are well-rounded fighters with enhanced transformation abilities, who can take on extra alternate modes or link up with a smaller minicon partner. Unlike other roles, Mode Masters can choose how to allocate their essence point scores and skills as they level up, making them the most adaptable class in the system. Scientists start the game with extra Energon points, which they can use to heal and support their allies in and out of combat. Scouts excel at gathering intelligence, marking targets, and causing havoc behind enemy lines. Warriors are close-range fighters who specialize in melee combat. When a warrior takes enough damage to be defeated, they may choose to instead lose one of their limbs and fight on with a temporary stat loss. Finally, introduced in the Decepticon Directive, there are Raiders, who take whatever they feel they're owed, through coercion, deception, or brute force. So there is a good bit of options here. Each of them has their own specialization. Who has an idea of what route they're taking?
Question.
Sorry, Thread, you said you had a question.
Yes. Do your roles have to, like, because we went through this whole thing, a black market, former senator, I, acquire things in all kinds of ways. Do I also have to have that as my role?
No.
Okay. That's good.
Like, if you wanted to play into it, you could be like a raider or something for your role. But you could just as easily be a warrior.
Yeah, I was looking at since I'm sorry I had went off mute. I'll just go, but then yes. Next. I was going between either where is it? So the difference between a special ops. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. There was a different one. There was the Warriors, and yes, there was the Sentinels, which is like defense and precision. Is that like just like a 5e paladin? It's like shield and sword kind of energy.
Sentinels. Let me bring them up here.
And sorry, I'm going off of the wiki, but if I need to go into the book, I can.
Yeah, I mean, we'll want to look at the book to get the actual like abilities of the class and stuff. But
okay, so then let me do that. What page?
I am bringing it up. The Warrior starts on page 87.
Got it.
And stuff about the Sentinel begins on page 90. So yeah, the
Alright.
Sentinel is a skilled combatant focused on self-defense and waiting for an opening. So
Got it.
they get extra hard points to let them have shields and stuff, or parrying weapons.
I wanted a weapon.
They have stuff that let them get advantage attacking creatures on their turn. They are better at disarming enemies. Yeah, they have a.
That's
They do have a slight focus on sword and board. That is actually one of their abilities eventually.
yeah, and that's what I was looking for, like a sword and board situation, and then my other skills will come in for other situations. So yeah.
Okay, then let's go ahead. Let's start off with making you a warrior. So, as a warrior, you get a couple options here. And let me tell you guys, we are going to fill up your perks. There's going to be a lot of these.
Yeah.
So
I like
first
perks.
off, you get hardcore. This
I am
is
hardcore.
the soldier. This is the warrior perk. This says when you take enough damage to be defeated, you can spend an energon point to instead lose a limb, but otherwise ignore the effect of the attack. You can use hardcore as long as you have the energon points and limbs to spare.
Okay.
So this lets you stop from going down, and is a fun little ability. I've thought about building a character that has multiple limbs just to really take advantage of it.
That's genius. I can acquire another limb.
Yep. You will increase both your smarts and your strength essence by 1.
Yay.
So let's go to edit. Increase.
Yeah, I figured you were editing, so that's why I didn't touch.
Yeah,
but
all
I'm
good.
in the sheet, so.
Now, with that strength essence, you can increase your choice of brawn, which is like moving stuff. It is like forcing things open, things of that nature. You can increase conditioning, and conditioning isn't a skill you ever actually roll, but each point you have in conditioning gives you an extra hit point.
Okay.
Or you can increase might, and might is your most common melee combat skill.
Okay.
Fighting with like any sort of melee weapon is typically going to fall under might.
So then let's do might.
Okay, so that'll be a D2. Now,
Yes.
from your smarts increase, you can increase alertness, which is essentially your perception, culture, which lets you identify and fit in with various cultures, or survival, which
Let's
is
do
very
culture.
similar. Okay. Seems about right
Oh.
for a former senator.
Yes. If you were gonna say technology, I thought about it, but that wasn't an option. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to edit your perks again, and I'm going to add Warrior Sentinel. I'm going to put a couple things in here. Now, being a Sentinel gives you another ability boost. In this case, you get an increase to your speed.
Yay! I go even faster.
This increase gives you a skill and lets you improve your choice of Vertigo, Finesse, or Initiative.
Finesse.
Okay, are you planning on using a lot of finesse melee weapons?
Yeah, that was what I was visioning, like sword, or like things where I'm up close and stabby, just like a paladin. That's what I thought.
Then,
but
do you want to raise something other than might if you're going to focus on finesse melee weapons?
got you.
Because finesse is only like light melee weapons, or were you envisioning heavier weapons?
Are there
With
heavy
a champion,
swords?
there's heavier weapons, but I could totally see like a champion going for almost like a more of a swashbuckler sort of design with like
That's what I was thinking.
like a dueling shield and like a rapier or something like that. In which case,
That's exactly
we
what-
might want to rechange your choice on the might increase that you did.
And do it to conditioning or brawn.
Yeah, either one of those. I think conditioning would help you a little bit more, like give you at least 3 hit points.
Then I wondered if doing that, because I originally was, because of that swashbuckling energy, I was hoping athletics was like one of the options, but I guess conditioning is the next best thing.
Yep, that'll give you 3 hit points.
Yeah.
And then we'll put a D2 in finesse.
Yay.
All right. So what that gets you, there's a few things you get out of this. Firstly, you get stalwart defense. You can use one of your external hardpoints to defend yourself. During equipment, requisition, and assignment, choose whether you defend yourself with a shield or a parrying weapon. If you choose a shield, on your turn you can choose to gain a +2 toughness, +2 evasion, or +1 to both until the beginning of your next turn. If you choose a parrying weapon, you gain a close combat blade, close combat bludgeon, short blade, or short bludgeon. You gain
Okay.
1 upshift on offhand attacks, and on your next turn, you can choose to gain a +1 toughness or +1 evasion until the beginning of your next turn. Sorry, on your turn you can choose to gain a +1 toughness or +1 evasion until the beginning of your next turn. So you could go, if you
Okay.
want to play into this whole like duelist swashbuckler idea, we could play into the whole concept of either having, this little this shield, nice little round shield for you, or like what's it called, the main gauche, the like little dagger that a duelist will sometimes accompany their blade with.
Okay. I was thinking more, so 2 parts. When you say like +1 or +2, that means like your dice goes up 2, or
No, so your
you
toughness
get
and
2 points.
evasion are your defenses.
Oh, okay, got it. Tough. Yes, under. I see. Okay. Because I was like, why did I have 10 under toughness and 11 under cleverness, but 0 under evasion? So I wasn't clear on what was going on my sheet.
Yep, so yeah, you'll be able to choose the shield to get
Mhm.
a higher bonus, or the weapon to be a little bit better at fighting in your offhand but get a smaller defensive bonus.
I think I want to do shield and offhand, and then.
Well, the good news is
Sword.
you will get to choose every time before you guys go out on an adventure.
Ah, okay. So I could switch it up if I'm feeling feistier. I could be like, and extra dagger knife.
Yep, exactly.
Got you. Um, I only asked my question too, and I know we're trying to push through with time. So what? Why do I have a 10 on toughness? What's going on here on my sheet? Under
You
strength, that's toughness, and then
because I've accidentally been making all these changes to Ben's sheet.
Ah. Weird.
Alright, I'll fix those. Don't worry about that. I'll move them all over.
okay.
Other stuff you get, and we will probably add stuff in between sessions, just to save a little bit of time. But as a warrior,
Yes.
you are trained in limited and restricted armor upgrades, and you are trained in all weapons and qualified in might weapons.
Yeah.
You picked your
I don't know what.
focus. You have Foot Soldier, which says, when in bot mode, treat your speed as if it was too high when calculating how many free actions you get on your turn. You have Manifest Melee Weapon. As a free action once per combat, you can create an integrated Energon weapon without needing to spend an Energon point, as long as the weapon you create is based on a standard melee weapon. This weapon lasts until the end of combat or until you are defeated. Finally, you have Wisdom through Experience. Once per scene following a combat, when looking for clues or theorizing about enemy plans, you may ask your GM if one of your ideas has merit. The GM must then answer yes or no truthfully, and provide a hint as to why they gave that answer. If the GM feels it falls in between yes and no, but not close enough to either, they can say maybe and provide 2 hints. Wisdom through experience represents your character thinking on an idea and not necessarily expressing it out loud, although you can choose to do so as well. So I'm going to try to...
I love this. This is exactly what I was envisioning.
I'm going to remove the changes I did. But while I am doing that, who else has an idea for their character? For their origin?
Yeah. My idea for this one would have probably be more on a gunner with a sniper.
Interesting.
Just do not get close to me. I will wilt under all that pressure.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, I like that. That could be fun. Sniper. So, yeah, gunner, we can definitely do sniper. And there are like these differences. So, just because I know Shai, you'd also talked maybe about going for a sniper.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
You may have thrown my brain for a loop. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, I
It's all
died
good.
at melting under pressure.
that was really funny.
So, yeah, do you guys want to discuss that a little bit? Or, I don't know, it's up to how you guys want to handle this.
All right. Well, what was your idea on the way that your character would do this?
If no one had done it, my thought was going to be exactly like the sniper subclass of gunner. But I was also playing around with, and I guess I can mention this now just because we're here. I think I would still end up with gunner, honestly. But I was otherwise playing around with just the other subclass, which would have been the gunslinger. I think that's what it's called. Hold on. Yeah, gunslinger.
That is the gunner class, yeah.
So I'm down to either one. If we're willing to have two gunners, I'm down for it.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one before.
Okay. So Ben's going for the sniper. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the gunner has to offer us. So for those of you following along at home with your own core rulebook, the gunner starts on page 67. It starts Ben off, and I am on Ben's character sheet, with an increase to speed and smarts. So Ben, with these increases, with your speed increase, you can increase your choice of initiative or targeting. Initiative will obviously be your initiative roll, whereas targeting is attacks made with your firearm. Or any ranged weapon that isn't thrown.
Probably throw that into targeting.
Okay. Your smarts increase must go to your choice of alertness or survival.
Probably put that one in alertness.
Okay. Alright, so we'll set that to a D2. I'll go back real quick. Set that to a D2. Alright, back on Ben's character sheet. Now you also already picked out your sniper. So, I presume when you say sniper, you're talking about the sharpshooter specialization. Sharpshooters are long-range fighters who rely on single precise shots. So it does sound like that fits with your idea.
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and add gunner, sharp shooter, roll. So this gives you long shot. Your enemies may not realize how far the battlefield stretches. You do not suffer a snag when attacking from long range with a ranged weapon. That will let you get some very good distance against your foes. Another thing that that this gives you is focus equipment. you get a long-range rifle as personal gear. Treat the availability of the long-range rifle as standard when requisitioning upgrades for it. That'll come in once we actually get into gameplay. But I'm going to note that under your perks here. And also, as a sharpshooter, you get another increase to your speed.
Nice.
This increase can only be applied to your choice of infiltration or initiative.
Let's go with initiative.
Initiative, okay. So that'll become a D. Oops. For some reason it's not letting me. There we go, D2. And your speed is 3. So there you go. You've got all your actions set up.
Yeah.
Now, other stuff that you have is your Cybertronian perk is called Imprompturate. When you convert from your bot mode with ballistic weapons and your external hardpoints, you can spend an Energon point to treat the firearms as integrated hardpoint weapons in your alt mode for the rest of the scene. So essentially what that's saying is when you transform, if you have a weapon like built into you, you can have it be built into your vehicle mode as well. Which will make firing it a little bit easier.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Other stuff you get, you are trained in limited armor upgrades. You are trained in projectile weapons and qualified in standard and limited ballistic weapons. But you'll still likely have your focus on your long-range rifle. You also get armament. A gunner always has a gun at hand. You get an additional integrated hardpoint. And we can talk a little bit about those, probably in between sessions. This will be a good thing to explain as their own separate sort of detail. You also have Pistol Whip. When you have a ballistic weapon and an external hardpoint, it also counts as a close combat bludgeon. You do not add any benefits you normally gain from attacks with a ballistic weapon when you use it as a close combat bludgeon. Your final feature is Rapid Reload. You hot swap ammo faster than most pulley trigger. Reloading weapons with your reload trait is a free action for you.
Nice.
Yeah, and like I said, we will enter more of those in between sessions. But that leaves us with Decaf or Shy. Either of you have an idea in mind? Either of you want to go next?
I mean, I could always just go in now. I mean, I already kind of mentioned what I was doing earlier.
All right, so we have yet another gunner.
Indeed, but this time I'll go the I believe it's like I think I said gunslinger. Yeah, gunslinger.
Well, I do want to point out, now this comes from the Decepticon Directive, but if you're into the idea of not necessarily sniper weapons, but oversized heavy weapons, there is a specialization included in the Decepticon Directive Handbook that is all about that. If you'd be interested in hearing about it.
Okay. I'm curious.
Okay. It is called, let me see if I can't find it here. Or no, wait, sorry. I was actually thinking of the wrong book. Because this focus is in the Enigma of Combination book.
Is it?
Let me see.
I see Cannonade, Trigger Bots, and Cannoneers.
Yep, here it is. Cannoneers are the masters of big artillery, the kind that put the big hurt on single targets and make them no longer part of the battlefield. Your first ability as a cannoneer is Balance and Compensation. You have an augmented frame that allows you to handle much larger and more powerful weaponry. It is easier for you to wield a ranged weapon in your external hardpoints. Any skill-based requirements for such weapons are reduced by 2 die sizes, to a minimum of D2, and any size-based requirements are lowered by 2 class sizes.
Oh, snap!
So as a common-sized bot, you could wield weapons sized for huge bots.
Oh, jeez.
Or that at least require to be at least huge to use.
Yeah.
that of any interest to you?
Honestly, screw it. I'm curious maybe about some of the other skills that it'll give, but yeah. But that's still like a gunner at base, right?
Yes. Yep, that is a focus
Okay.
for the gunner.
Got it. So I
Alright.
guess
So that
the
does
thing that it would change is there would be an essence increase, the focus skill, and then some other skill of its own. Was that the first level perk that you just described?
Yes, that was the first level perk for that
Gotcha.
that version of the gunner.
Love
But
it. Okay.
Before
You know what?
that,
Yeah.
before that, we do increase your speed essence by 1 and your smarts essence by 1.
Beautiful.
So that speed essence goes to your choice of initiative or targeting.
While I am sure I'll end up increasing initiative, I think
Eventually.
targeting's probably important.
Yeah. Yep. Already got that set to a D2. Nicely done. Your
Yep.
smarts are limited to alertness or survival.
Uh,
You could get alertness up to a D4 or get a D2 in survival.
what does survival do?
Survival is used for stuff like tracking, for surviving in the wilderness, things of that nature. It is the classic survival skill.
Okay. I was trying to ask that essentially, and I was just failing to put out the words. Well, we'll just bump alertness again.
Okay. As a cannoneer, which I will enter down below, or you can if you want to set it up yourself. You increase
Would this
your
be a perk?
well, first we will increase your strength essence.
Oh dear.
And this
I
goes
guess
to
this
your
makes
choice
sense.
of athletics, brawn, or intimidation.
Oh geez.
Now, brawn is what lets you carry stuff. So
Okay.
you might want that at least at a D2. Because some of like those big heavy guns, you need like a minimum brawn to be able to carry them.
Yeah.
And your ability
Okay, I might have to look into that.
reduces that skill required, but to a minimum of a D2.
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, I'll start with brawn just in general because that's kind of important to have.
Yep.
And then I'll look into that some more as time goes on. What skill is used for like those heavy weapons to attack with?
Targeting. It's still usually targeting.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. And I have just entered in your balance and compensation ability. And I will also, while I'm here, since I can just steal it from Ben's description, I will throw on your impromptu turret.
Beautiful.
Other than that, you have the things that I already mentioned in regards to pistol whip and rapid reload and those other actions.
Can I just say the idea of pistol whipping with like this massive cannon just sounds hysterical.
It'll be
It's
fun.
less of a pistol whip and more just a battering ram to the gut.
It's going to be a good time. That leaves us with Decaf.
Hi again.
Hello, buddy.
I have chosen scientist.
Did we forget to? I forgot to actually change the one to your scientist. You know what? I had an idea. I figured that's where you were going to end up. It is probably the most straightforward support role in the game.
Uh-huh.
So, as a scientist, you will obviously increase your smarts, but you will also increase your strength. So that strength increase can increase your choice of brawn or conditioning.
What is the difference between the two specifically? I'm not really sure on this
So
one.
brawn is an actual skill. It has purposes in determining your your carry rate, but it is also just continuous exerted force.
Okay.
Conditioning isn't actually a skill that you will ever roll. You'll notice it doesn't have any specializations available. And that is
Oh, okay.
because each increase to conditioning actually just increases your hit points.
Well, I love that. Give me conditioning.
Okay. So that'll get you up to 4 hit points, and I want to make that change immediately so we don't miss it.
Yes. Perfect.
And then your smarts can increase your choice of science or technology. Now, this is a point of order I want to bring up real quick. To heal your fellow Cybertronians, you're going to use the technology skill because you're all a bunch of robots.
Yeah.
Healing organic creatures would actually fall under science.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to start with technology. I think that makes the most sense.
Agreed. All right. Now, your role. Scientists have a couple role, and you said a couple different things that could lead to going in a variety of ways. Now, first off, I do want to note that as a scientist, an ability that you have that, sorry, let me bring it back up, is Intraphylum. When treating an adjacent Cybertronian as a free action, you can spend an Energon point to automatically restore 1 health. Additionally, whereas everybody else determines their Energon by their lowest essence, you will have Energon Battery, which says you store a number of personal Energon points equal to your highest essence score, not your lowest.
Oh.
So. But as for specialization, I'm going to go through the couple options here real quick because I think there are a few that could fit with the idea that you sort of brought up. Now, I think the obvious choice is Medical Officer, who focus on patching up injured teammates and protecting them from incoming damage. Gadgeteer I don't think quite describes what you were thinking of. It mentions augmenting allies with advanced technology, jury-rigging battlefield equipment, and taking out enemy equipment.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff you talked about makes me think that you might like Cyber Engineer. This comes from the Decepticon Directive, and Cyber Engineers apply various stat boosts by experimenting on themselves and their fellow Cybertronians. Now, this might be something that some members of your party would not be interested in you doing.
Yeah, I can already imagine. Yeah, I see you back there.
Other options that I don't think quite fit in with concepts you've mentioned are Elementalist, who specialize in weaponry involving one particular element, such as fire, lasers, or acid. Or there are also Counselors, who provide psychological support for their allies, or prey upon the psychological problems of their enemies.
Does therapy give us more hit points?
Potentially. Do any of those strike your fancy?
I think I'm going to lean towards Medical Officer. The Gadgeteer did have some minor interest to me, but the moment it talked about taking out like enemy weapons, I was like, I'm good. Yeah, Medical Officer.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, Medical Officer is the one that is just most straightforward about healing. Now, as a Medical Officer, you get another increase to your smarts, putting that at 2. And you can increase your science or technology skill.
Let's go technology again.
Okay, getting that up to a D4.
Heck yeah.
As a Medical Officer, you have Patch Up. After a quick soldering, you'll have them up and back in action in no time. Once per turn, you can spend an Energon point to make a skill test to repair a Cybertronian or vehicle, or heal an organic life form as a free action. You always count as having a standard medicine kit and standard repair kit on you. So you just have essentially built-in tools to repair people.
Love that.
Other stuff that you get from being a scientist, I already mentioned Energon Battery. You additionally have Circuit Breaker. You've jolted enough allies conscious to know the effect electricity has on Cybertronian physiology. You can use the technology skill for attacks with electric weapons. And that can be ranged or melee electric weapons. Additionally, you have broad understanding. Although you have your field of expertise, to know science is to think a certain way that applies across disciplines. Outside of combat, as long as you have at least one science specialization, you roll all science skill tests as though you were specialized. Although skill tests outside your specialization suffer a downshift 2. So I did mention upshifts earlier, and whereas upshifts increase your skill die, downshifts decrease your skill die.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that does cover our roles here. Does anybody have any question about these, about the role, anything like that?
Nope.
BB, can you talk to me real quickly what the difference between alertness and survival? I think I have it in the book. Survival, you said, was like outdoor stuff, like the terrain, or
Yep, it is classic. It's classic survival skill, like you'll see in Pathfinder, D&D, any sort of game like that.
Gotcha.
Alertness is
Yeah.
perception.
I'm leaning towards alertness. I like to roll an insight check. It's my favorite thing to do.
Okay, then I'm going to increase that. And survival was not an option for you. I misspoke. It was alertness or
What was the other
culture.
option?
Culture.
Oh, I thought we had put culture. What's the
I mean-
difference? That's actually a good question.
Culture
was
is
like-
identifying social norms and being able to like fit in with them and stuff like that.
Got it. Did I receive culture before? And
Nope.
then got it. So yeah, then I probably should do culture then.
Okay. We will switch alertness for culture.
Because I heard Ben also has alertness, so let's let others have strength.
Okay.
too.
Well, speaking of having strengths and everything, I think it is time where we can start looking at finalizing ability scores and stuff. So, each of you has 12 points to spend across the board on any of your essences. We don't have to do this one by one, but I would like to talk with each of you about how you want to spread these and what you want to do. And I think it would be good to talk about it amongst each other just so you guys know like who has what skills and stuff like that. So, everybody has 4 right now. Does anybody want to start? Anybody know where they immediately want some of their essences to flow?
Well, I probably think I'll probably prioritize targeting.
Okay. How much more do you want to get targeting up to?
So put it up to a D8.
Okay, so you will need 3 more speed to get it up to a D8.
Okay.
So your speed will be 6, and your targeting will be a D8. That leaves you with 9 points.
Okay.
Anybody else know where they want to put points right off the bat?
I think I'm going to put at least 2 points, one each into brawn and conditioning as a follow-up.
Okay, so gets your strength up to 3. We'll put a D2 in brawn, D4 in conditioning, and we'll make sure to set your hit points to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. That leaves you with 10 points. Anybody else got a concept, an idea of where they want to align their points?
Yes, I would like to boost my finesse all the way up, so 3 more points on there.
3 more points into finesse. All right, so your speed's going to be a 4, which is good because remember, your actions are determined by your speed.
Got you. So that works.
So your finesse will be a
Um,
D8 with that.
Okay. Driving. What's going on there?
So as I mentioned, driving is both operating vehicles of various sorts and also driving in your alt mode.
Um, is there more benefit if I was trying to beef up my alt mode to go faster, or that doesn't?
I mean, it'll let you pull off like stunts and things like that.
Oh no, I'm straightforward. I just go fast. All right,
Yeah.
then.
And I mean, if you want
if I could,
to ram people or anything like that, that also
no,
involves driving.
I'm an expensive
Uh,
car. I would not ram.
That reminds me, you can decide to give what's it called? Like
A specialization.
a way to specialization.
Yep.
So that gives I've got a land specialization from before that gives an edge on rolls,
Mm-hmm.
which is just rolling twice, right?
Yes.
The D20.
Yep.
What's the one that what's the one that allows it to roll like everything below it? What's that?
That is so you technically don't really have a land specialization. Your perk as a racer simply had you choose a specialization and said that you gain edge when you're making those specializations. You could still take an actual specialization in land driving, and that just costs you one of the essence points that you put into your speed.
Interesting. Okay.
So instead of like increasing acrobatics to a D4, you could just instead get that land spec.
I think that's what I'll do. Gives edge and yeah, okay. And then I'll do okay.
All right. You actually look like. Do you have them all assigned?
I'm playing around with a little bit, but I think I might.
Yeah, you do have
So,
all 16 essences. Do you want to
so if we'd
tell
like,
everybody?
yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so I've got 3 in strength. I figured some brawn, bare minimum a D4 would probably be smart. I might play around with this a bit, as needed. And I figured an additional point in conditioning never hurts.
Little bit
So
more
if
health.
I'm not mistaken, 1 more health. Yep.
Yep. Did you already apply that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'll jump across the board because I'll go to speed last because that's got the most going on.
Okay.
Well, I am not very social. I've got 1 in social, which is the minimum. And I decided upon streetwise. I'm willing to adjust that around because at this point I don't really know if I've got something for that.
And I have a lot of I'm gonna have a lot of streetwise shy, so don't feel obligated. That's my specialty. So
Gotcha. I mean, I just have it there. If anything, that one's the one I'm willing to play with. Most especially. I've got 4 in smarts, so I've upped my alertness up to a D4. Wasn't there an initiative? Oh yeah, I wanted to up my initiative too.
That's
Gosh
under
darn it.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah. I might actually adjust while I'm here then. Hey, guess what? I'm a speedy boy. Smarts is now a 3. We'll get to why in a minute. I've got an alertness at D4 and technology to D2 because I figure it doesn't hurt to have. I probably have some sort of like miniature amount of knowledge in technology due to being an experiment.
Yeah.
And then speed is now officially a 9. Because I've got a D2 in acrobatics, a D6 in driving, along with a land specialization.
Yep.
So I am ready to drive to nobody's end, along with a D2 in initiative and a D6 in targeting.
Very nice. Excellent. Now, that does mean we can go ahead and assign you your We're going to use personal power to represent Energon, and your lowest score is 1, which means you will have 1 Energon.
Woo! Now, how does that? I'm still confused about that a little bit, if I'm being honest. How does that work?
I'm gonna have to read up on it again because it's been a little bit since I played. But Energon regenerates fairly quickly. Stuff like defeating other Cybertronian enemies, certain story points, you'll just regenerate Energon.
Okay. But my max is 1.
Correct.
Oof.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, cool.
Alright, so that is all of his essence. Anybody else wanna has anybody else decided where they want to allot their essence?
Still running my calculation on the remaining 9 points here.
Okay. Ben, do you have any ideas?
See. God, I feel like you're really good at a lot of this shit, really.
I mean, if you're a bureaucrat, I could see you maybe having some culture.
Yeah, he would definitely have culture, technology a little.
Yeah. I could see some persuasion from your social.
Mm-hmm.
But also don't
Probably
feel
not
pressure
deception.
on persuasion.
Yeah.
He would not be streetwise.
Would he... Now remember, you need to have at least 1. So here, you know
Right.
what, let's start with this. You need to have at least 1 in every essence.
Okay,
So let's go ahead and give you 1 strength. What are you increasing with that strength essence?
Probably athletics on that one.
Athletics? Okay. So athletics is like climbing, jumping, all that sort of like movement stuff like that.
Yep.
So that'll maybe help you get to a vantage point from which you can snipe from.
Yep.
You also need
Makes sense.
1 social essence.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to apply that?
Probably put 1 in deception for that.
Okay. A little bit of deception going on. Alright, that leaves you with 7 essence points.
7. Mm. Can you put 1?
Now keep in
Yeah,
mind,
so
not
culture.
to... Oh yeah, of course. Culture?
Yeah,
How much do you want in
culture.
there?
God, he would not be good at a whole lot of shit, but he's a fucking nerd a bit. So, yeah, culture would definitely have at least 1 or 2.
Okay, well let's start off putting 2 into your smarts and increasing culture to a D4. That leaves you with 5 essence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not to say you have to do this, but you do presently have 2 hit points. You could put a point or 2 in conditioning, so you could at least get up to 3.
Yeah, let's get a bit more hit points so I don't die absolutely immediately.
Right. How many hit points would you like?
I have how much right now?
2.
And 2. How much more can I get?
Well, I mean, you could put up to 5 essence in this and increase your hit points by 5. But that's all of your essence.
Get 3 in there.
You want 3 in there. Ooh. Okay. So that'll put your conditioning at a D6, and suddenly you go
Yeah.
from having 2 health to 5.
Because if memory serves, whenever I try to do long range, it is not long range.
Well, so you have 2 essence remaining. If you would like to have more than 1 energon point, you could put a bit more into social.
Put 1 in performance.
Okay. Alright, you have 1 essence remaining now.
Alright. And one in technology.
Okay. All right, and that is all of your essence spent. You have an energon pool of 2. And there we are.
All right.
I think that leaves us with Thread or Decaf. But it does look like Decaf has allotted all of his skills.
And I'm working through allotting mine as we speak.
All right, so why don't we
uh,
check in with Decaf first?
Cool.
Yeah. I think I've got it sorted out.
Ooh,
I'm
pumped
debating
a-
lowering Streetwise.
you pumped a bit more into conditioning, I see.
Of course. That's I'd like to live. My only concern is how useful Streetwise or Persuasion may be, because I'm debating potentially lowering Streetwise to pump up technology.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm
So now-
I'm gonna be streetwise.
Breaking down what you have
Mhm.
so far, you have
Mhm.
5 points in strength.
Yep.
3 of those have gone to conditioning. The other
Yep.
2 have gone to might,
Yes.
which is the main melee combat skill.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You have 2 points in speed, both of which have gone towards driving.
Well, yeah. I plan on looking good and driving good.
Well, now here's an option. If you do end
Mhm.
up lowering streetwise, I would say initiative probably isn't a bad one to increase, just
Okay.
so that you don't roll every initiative with disadvantage.
Gotcha.
Smarts is obviously your highest so far with 6. You've got an alertness of D2, a culture of
Mhm.
D2, and a technology of D8.
Yes.
And then that leaves your social with 3. You've got a D2 for persuasion and a D4 for streetwise.
Okay. Well, then, you know what? No, I'll keep it as is
Okay.
because I feel like at the end of the day, I have this repeat offense that I do with all of my characters, which is that I always seem to roll the lowest initiative in every freaking fight.
Okay.
So screw it. I'll take the disadvantage on initiative.
All right. Sounds good. Now, it is worth noting, due to your Energon battery ability as a scientist, you have 6 Energon points.
Yes.
To
Which
go
is
with
why I
your,
was
go
pumping
with your
down
6 hit points.
Streetwise to give me
Yeah.
technology to make it 7. But no, I'm happy with 6.
Yeah, 6 is very good, as you've seen from the other people so far. Only having 1 or 2. All right. Thread, you ready to talk about what you've got here?
Yes, and just making sure my allocation worked. So we had started with Streetwise, already had a D2.
Yep.
I had upped it to at least D4. I also
Okay, yeah,
upped
so it
my
looks like
persuasion.
you've put 3 in there. So I'm going to adjust your social to 4.
Wait, Streetwise already had one.
Right, but you have a D4
From-
in persuasion.
Yep, and
So,
then
That is
yeah,
3 total.
so 3 more points. Yes,
Yep.
yes. Sorry, I thought it was gonna automatically save on top.
Nope,
so
it
that's
does
good.
not.
Let's work through
So
that.
I have to work
Okay.
backwards from what you do.
No worries. Okay, so culture was the one where I had a D2 already in it.
Yep.
I've upped that to D4. I've also added 1 point for alertness and 1 point for technology here.
Okay.
All right.
So everybody's got at least a little bit
Um,
of technology in this party.
Yes, it's a Transformers party. I need to know how things go boop. We already did the finesse. Wasn't sure. It sounds like targeting is more for ranged.
Targeting is all about ranged weaponry.
Yeah, so we're not gonna worry about that right now. And then I had added 1 to conditioning, and then I added 2 to athletics.
Yeah.
So right now I'm even across the board.
You are
Should I?
even across the board, 444. Yeah.
Am I missing 1?
No, you should have 16 total points.
Okay, so got it. So yeah, we should be good.
Excellent. So that means you will have 4 Energon points to work with, giving you a nice middle ground between the others.
Hi.
Yes. I want to be able to leverage the "you take my arm, but you can't take my freedom" like energy.
How
Excellent.
much health do you have again?
She has 4.
Or I upped actually conditioning. That's
Oh,
actually a good question.
you opted another one, so it should, I guess,
Yeah.
be 5.
5.
You are
Yeah.
correct.
I have once again managed to build the character with the least HP of the team.
Nice.
I mean,
If that is the case.
it was almost Ben.
It was, and then it wasn't.
Well,
So
speaking of
you need
which,
to
because
stay
I
in
did just
range.
click to Ben's character.
Yes, I
These
have found the
characters are
name.
built. You can give me descriptions if you want. I think I kind of want to save descriptions and everything for when we like actually start playing and stuff. But for now, what I want to close out on is everybody's name for their character. Ben, I'm already looking at yours. I love it. Would you please introduce us to your character?
The characters is Red Tape.
Because he's a
He
free
was-
bureaucrat. I
Yep.
love it. It's perfect.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I like that it just popped up in my head.
Fantastic name. Does anybody else have an idea for their name?
It is done.
Okay. Decaf?
I'm gonna
Interesting.
go with Split Switch.
Lit switch. Okay.
Hmm.
I like it. Gotta make sure I feel like I'll say flip switch at least once or twice. Feel free to correct me when I do.
Fair enough.
That leaves us with Thread and Shy. Do either of you have a name for your character?
Light swipe.
Light swipe. That's a good one. Oops. So we can change that up here. Oops. Yeah, so you can edit your name. Actually, I can't edit your name for some reason.
I know why. I had it on edit, so you gotta edit.
Ah.
There it is.
No, that's not doing it. Did the rest of you
Oh.
just like click and type your name up there? How'd you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I pushed the purple edit button and it let me edit things.
Oh, the one in the top right corner.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So, light strike, you said?
Light swipe.
Light swipe.
Yes.
Excellent. There we go. Light swipe.
Yes. It's a nod to the sword, you see.
Well, that leaves us with Shy.
I'm gonna be full on. I am struggling.
All right, well, let's see. You have a focus on oversized weapons. You're also a
In speed.
highly capable driver. Yeah, very fast. Flash fire,
What?
crash
on.
bang, flash
I
bang.
heard of crash bang.
That's a yeah. Decaf
Honestly?
submitted that one.
Stage. Yo. Actually.
Gonna be stage dive.
How'd
What's
you
with-
come up with these so fast? Hold up.
He's
You
reading.
can actually thank BB.
He's reading off
Oh.
the list.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just like rolling off the tongue with these. I was like, damn.
No, I am not the talented one here.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay.
I have someone on there twice. Oops.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, so heavy weapons and speed.
Driveline, flash fire, flash drive.
I had wanted to be like stage dive, but I was like, that doesn't fit the character anymore.
Yeah, you had a couple names that you said you were looking at, and then your character didn't really end up fitting any of them.
It was a good starting point, though.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I could at least provide that.
While looking at some other names, and I came across Cannon Head.
Yeah, yeah. Mean Streak's a good one.
I like Mean Streak and watch you be like the nicest guy.
I don't know, he's got
Aw.
a social of 1, and he's skeptical.
You know, he's rude.
Does it have to be? I guess. Is it always like when it comes to like Transformers names? Is it always like almost like a 2-word kind of mix,
No,
or
because there's also just occasionally you'll find ones that are just like, for example, there's Chromia, there's Rumble,
interesting?
Ravage. I was about to say Pyromagna, but technically Pyro's a title. Bludgeon is a famous Cybertronian.
Interesting. Okay.
Volley. Ooh, that's a
Ooh.
good one.
Actually, no, I like that. I like Volley.
Okay. Well, excellent. So,
Dude, the thing that I have in mind for what this vehicle, like what it turns into vehicle-wise, is almost even more perfect.
well, we will save all of that for next time. For now, we have our team of Light Swipe, Red Tape, Flit Switch, and Volley. What machinations will our team of Autobots get up to? Be sure to tune in, I guess both work, 2 Sundays from now, where we will begin our adventure into the Transformers role-playing game. Until then, stay safe, be good, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!